Hello, everybody, and welcome to Norm, the Cheers podcast that isn't, but is live once again. We've been gone for a few weeks because of various travels and tribulations, but we're back. We're here. I wish we had an episode that was worth this buildup, that was worth this wait. I wish it was. I wish it was the season 5 finale. I wish there was a lot to delve into. It is not.
This is a
It's
devoid
here.
of subtext episode. This is all text.
Yeah. It was a Shelley Long is busy episode, so she's in one scene and then she's going to get her own scene that was clearly shot at a different time. Yeah. It's an interesting week. Not without its charm, not without some laughs. But yeah, it was an interesting week. Yeah, a lot's happened since we have been away, and we don't need to talk about it.
We don't?
We can. We don't need to. It's been talked about quite a bit.
Oh, that.
Was there something else that you wanted to talk about?
R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried.
100%. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is sad.
One of the great.
Battling a long illness. Yep. At 67, we have lost Gilbert Gottfried. Such a brilliantly funny guy. And hard to overstate, like, what a big deal he was in the 80s, especially. Like, he's been funny this whole time, but when he broke and people started going, who is that guy? It was a big deal. Yeah.
I always respected him for being able to kind of like bend his way into like children's television and Aladdin and shows on PBS and like become this really kind of singular voice talent while never compromising on his vision for who he was, which was to always be a person that was going to break you into a million pieces laughing by whatever means necessary.
Yeah. And never afraid to tell a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
yeah, he'd go there.
Yeah, he always went there. And it never felt like he didn't go there in the way a lot of 80s comics did, of just like, punching down. And I shouldn't say that. I have not seen his old stuff in a very long time. But most of the time when he got in trouble, it was telling something inappropriate, but not necessarily going after the little guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is somebody hungry? What is that noise? I can't be the only one that hears that.
No, there's definitely some sort of gremlin in the ductwork.
Okay. Thank God. I was really afraid that, all right, I don't have COVID, but I might be having a stroke.
No. Don't say that. I don't know what I was having the other night because I kept smelling lavender and I was like, I'm dying.
Oh, what a lovely way to go, though. It's so much better than burnt toast.
Yeah.
I hope that's what I smell when I finally shuffle.
Yeah. It was a tough day for comedians. We lost Gilbert Gottfried. Ali Wong announced her divorce.
Wait, pause. I didn't hear about that.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awful.
Yeah, not a huge surprise if you watched her last special, which was very, very good. We enjoyed it. But I do remember saying to Jen, I was like, yeah, I don't think you're going to be married a lot longer. But you can usually tell.
Really?
When a comic, yeah. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, as they say. But you watch a special sometimes, or you watch somebody's act, and you can always look back and go, oh, yeah. I mean, like so much of, did you see Wong Father? Or Don Wong, sorry, Don Wong.
No.
It was very good, but there was a lot of jokes about how much she wants to cheat on her husband. There's a lot of jokes about like, I thought I trapped him and now I'm trapped. And you're like, they were well told. And she, still tried to be like, but I'm happy to be married. You're like, are you?
Ooh.
There was a lot there.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was kind of like when you watched Louis' last special as a married man. I know Louis is a hot button, but just in terms of talking about watching a comic where you're like, you're about to get divorced. And I don't know if you know that, but we know that. And yeah, like you can watch Mulaney's stuff towards the end, where like when he's doing his Saturday Night Live monologue, where he's talking about a woman who likes none of my ideas, and my wife who talks about like I like walking around with me is exhausting. It's like being married to a man who's running for mayor of nothing. Like just a lot of jokes about like how much his wife doesn't like him.
Hmm.
And at some point you go, this is coming from somewhere.
Maybe it was reversed the whole time
Maybe.
because apparently she was blind. You know what? Shout out to baby Malcolm.
Mm. Happy baby Malcolm.
Yeah.
Happy baby Malcolm.
We're going to keep it classy here on.
No, yeah.
When they go low.
No, did I say anything that wasn't classy there?
No.
Okay, good. So
No.
I wish them all the best. It's just,
Yeah.
it is as a comedian, when you're watching, can't you sometimes know when a joke is telling you like, all right, somebody's saying they're not happy here, and they're getting it out as a joke, and it's a funny joke, but you can tell. You pick up on it.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
I'm always tickled by the fact that people are people can be surprised by the fact that like stand-up comics are emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, well, I wish everyone the best. I wish everyone health and happiness, and I hope we get to hang on to some of those comics for a while longer. One of the comedians I was texting with was saying, man, it feels like we're losing a lot of comics. And I don't know if it's that we're losing a lot of comics. I think there's something about the 80s comedy boom, and there were so many more comedians that we knew of, and now they're all kind of hitting an age where it's too early, but you're going to lose some of them just by sheer numbers and the lifestyle. And so you're going to lose some people. And yeah, I think it's starting to hit now, and it feels weird.
I feel like the cocaine by volume ratio with comedy in the 80s has an effect on performers in this day and age.
Potentially. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, even just something like with Saget, part of it is just the lifestyle of you're alone in a hotel room and you had an accident and something happens. And that's something usually happens with a comic, It's like, if you're in a band, there's other guys there to call 911 if they're sober enough to do so. But yeah, I mean, there was a great oral history of Better Call Saul that was on today that I read, really enjoyed because I love that show. But I couldn't help thinking about that in relation to Saget because Bob Odenkirk had a massive heart attack on the set of Better Call Saul. And they brought him back and he's fine and he's healthy. But Rhea Seaborn, who plays Kim Wexler, was saying, thank God we're a tight cast. And because he should have been in his trailer by all accounts. And he just wanted to hang out with us and talk to us. So we were just hanging out when this happened. And she started to cry. And she's like, I just keep thinking if he just hadn't been there talking to us, we would have lost Bob. And it's just that different lifestyle of, oh, yeah, you're on a TV show and you're an actor and you're with all these other people and you're hanging out. And when you're a stand-up, so often you're just by yourself a lot of the time. If that had happened when Bob Odenkirk was on the stand-up tour, we wouldn't have Bob Odenkirk anymore.
Yeah, it's a weirdly. I say this as an outsider, just kind of looking, but it seems like a stand-up on tour has to be one of the loneliest creative gigs I can possibly imagine.
It can be tough. Yeah, it can be tough. I mean, I've never done long tours, but yeah, just even doing a few weeks on the road can be challenging. It can be challenging, especially if you're not touring with your feature or opener.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you are, if you're headlining and you're doing, rough road gigs, usually you're not touring with other people. You're driving yourself places and they're local features and openers. So you're by yourself in your car and in your motel. you're the only one in the motel because everybody else is local to save money. That's part of the life.
Yeah. Oof. Not fun.
Nope. Speaking of not fun. No, it was a fine little episode. Season 4, episode 4, the Groom wore Clearasil. I think I may be a little biased against it just because I've sat with this episode for so long now and was ready to move on quickly. So, yeah.
Did I watch the right episode? Season 4, episode 4.
I might have jotted this down wrong. The Groom wore Clearasil.
Yep. See, S4 E4.
Yeah. Clearasil. The
That
Groom.
was the title. Because he was young. Because Anthony wants to
Oh,
get married.
that. Oh, yeah.
Because he's just a baby.
I didn't read the title. I just watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Dave, what was going on in the world when this episode was brought upon us?
This episode premiered on October 24th, 1985. And just a few weeks earlier, something else premiered on American TV at various times, depending on your syndication. But America was introduced to one of the seminal, terrible syndicated cartoon series that I devoured in the 80s. In this case, I'm talking about the Thundercats.
Woo!
I love that theme song. It's hard.
Yeah.
That theme song is
speaking ill of the Thundercats, sir.
I mean, the theme song is great. The opening credits animation is phenomenal, and every episode of the Thundercats is tops out max at a 5.
How dare you?
That is some
The Trials of Lion-O was a mini series on par with the Winds of War. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, the Ken Burns
magnificent
sequence was.
I stumbled upon Thundercats in a fit of insomnia some years ago, way past my bedtime, and watching Adult Swim on Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
Thundercats came on, followed by Silverhawks.
Oh,
Silverhawks sucked.
Nobody remembers Silverhawks, but I was like, this theme song also goes hard, but the show's ass. Thundercats was great.
Thundercats was great top to bottom. Dave, something bad was happening in Dave's life when he rewatched Thundercats, and he's blaming Tigra for it. I don't know why.
There is so much snarf. There's so much snarf, and snarf is a homeless man's Orko. I mean, this snarf is an atrocious character in every aspect, from design to portrayal. I cannot handle snarf, and snarf, I think because snarf is cheap to animate, snarf shows up a lot.
Dave, don't besmirch the good name of Snarf. Okay, Snarf walked so Jar Jar Binks could run.
Oh man, what a cursed lineage.
I don't like the way either of you are speaking about Snarf. Snarf hurt no one. The only thing, the sin Snarf paid for was being too good, because he took off in such a big way. He became the Urkel of the Thundercats, and dominated a little bit too much of the show. That is the only thing Snarf did wrong.
Snarf looked like the Kelsey Grammer prospector character from Toy Story 2 had a baby with a slug.
You're talking about a beloved character that drove the story arc of Toy Story 2, the best Toy Story, and a garden creature that makes vegetables possible.
Do you guys agree with me?
Sustains life, Dave.
But do you guys agree with me that Toy Story 4 is actually a horror film?
I think it's got some sweet horror elements in it that I absolutely love. I love that movie.
There are horror elements to it.
There is organ harvesting in Toy Story 4.
Oh, there's organ harvesting in all of the Toy Stories. I mean, the first one is straight up Frankenstein.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love those movies.
I go to bat. Toy Story 2, the best of the Toy Stories.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah. Toy Story and Thundercats is quality. It's especially compared to the rest of the 80s cartoons. That I might be judging it generously because He-Man and Master of the Universe was such a poorly put together toy commercial. I mean, really bad. Like Thundercats, there really was an arc to that. It's like, oh my God, these are refugees on another planet, and they're trying to like keep their species alive, and they're like trying to honor the traditions of the past, and there's actually battles, and the weapons are kind of cool, and yeah, like the Trials of Lion-O was fun, like where he had to earn his place to lead. Look, you don't just get to lead because of who you were born to. You got to prove it to us that you're the best of us. That was a good show.
I agree. I think the intentions, or like they were shooting for something great, and they just kind of never quite got there because of the limitations of 80s animation and having to put out 60 episodes in a season, which is bananas.
I will ask, since it's feline related media, do you think more people would have been receptive to it if Andrew Lloyd Webber got his hands on it?
Release the butthole cut of Thundercats.
Release the butthole cut.
I believe Dame Judi Dench was Chitara.
Do you know who
go
voiced?
back and look at the voice credits.
I didn't know who. Do you know who voiced Panthro?
Ooh.
Oh, I did know this, and now I don't. That was a famous voice actor, or a famous actor.
Earl Hyman, who played Bill Cosby's father on the Cosby Show.
Thank you. Yes,
sort of best known.
What?
And I remember this was. I cannot.
Who was only like 5 years older than Cosby. Like,
yeah,
playing his dad, but not much older than Bill Cosby.
No, they're definitely of the same generation. But it's weird. I definitely remember thinking as a kid, like, oh my gosh, this character who was supposed to be a feline alien. I was like, Panther is definitely black. Yeah. Like there was no doubt in my mind, and I was gratified to find out that he was portrayed by a black actor at least.
Yeah. It wasn't until the reveal of Cliff Huxtable's dad on the show that, at least for me, I got to piece together why Cliff and Claire had some inexplicably beige children in Denise and Sandra. Sandra. Yeah.
That was ingenious casting, if not totally age appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, but speaking of film, I'm 3/4 of the way done with Pleasantville.
What'd you think?
Which is available for free on YouTube.
Very good.
Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to watch it before. So I'm at the part where everything is gradually turning to color. Have either of you seen it? Any thoughts?
I have. I'm a big fan of Pleasantville.
Yeah, I remember enjoying it. I'm Team Tobey Maguire, and also I'm Team Joan Allen. Like I'll watch Joan Allen do anything.
Yeah.
I had no idea Paul Walker was in this because, like, I literally screamed at my laptop, "Paul Walker's in this," and he was.
I forgot.
Paul Walker. Yeah, did not make an impression upon me.
Skip Walker, the handsome but dumb basketball team captain.
Oh, okay.
Skip Martin.
I think though Pleasantville was definitely for a generation. I mean, I remember watching a lot of those shows that Pleasantville is based on, like watching a lot of Leave It to Beaver, watching like Gidget, watching Father Knows Best. Those shows were still in syndication when I was a little kid.
Oh.
And we watched them. So a lot of the tropes in there I recognized and keyed into. And really liked the message. Like it's a strong end too. You're at a good place that I would encourage you to plow through with.
Okay.
If there's maybe a part of you going, I don't know if I need to finish this.
I want to keep going. I've just had like stuff to do.
No, it's good. It's good. I like the message a lot. And I think it's a well delivered message, because there's a lot of movies where I love the message and I just said, boy, you told it badly. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of messages I agree with that are not necessarily delivered well. But Pleasantville, I think, is good. I think that's really quality. And Reese Witherspoon is great in that, too.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Daniels. That's a great cast.
Yeah. Bill Macy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sad, and you believe in him. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Last bit of pop culture news.
Mhm.
It's just been announced. I regret to inform the both of you. It's just been announced that it's officially Short King Spring.
Ah,
I'll
good for
pack
the
it up.
short kings. What was I doing with spring? Nothing.
Sorry,
Nothing.
guys.
Mm,
Taking a season off.
Yeah,
mhm.
that's what's out here on the internet street. So for the two of you, and of course viewers at home, it's Short King Spring.
Yeah.
Congrats to all my Short King friends out there.
I
Dylan
already had
Dagos.
hairy February. I'm owed nothing.
There it is.
All good. Tookie, would you like to talk about the saddest cold open ever?
Oh my god. Okay.
I
All right.
repressed this cold open so hard I forgot about it.
I did not. Who wrote that? Okay, so
Man, we just thought about dogs differently in the 80s. It wasn't cool, but yeah. Like the idea that this dog is causing a problem, so maybe it needs to die, was just a thing.
It's Reagan's America, man.
yeah,
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, people put their chihuahuas on Prozac these days. It's a different time. It's a different time.
Different time.
We have more compassion
Mhm.
these days. All right, but let's get into it. We enter the bar, and Woody announces, "Hey, everybody! I got a letter from my dog." And Sam inspects it really close. He says, "Oh, pretty spiffy handwriting for a dog." And Woody says, "Well, they're not actually from my dog. My mom writes the letters as if they're coming from my dog, Truman." Which, good name for a dog.
Quality.
Yeah. And Cliff, nudges Norm, says, weird beyond imagination, Norm. So Woody reads the letter. Get this. Dear Woody boy. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I wrote that wrong. Dear Woody, in the dog's voice. Boy, what a great day I had. I pulled all the laundry off the clothing line, chewed up your father's bowling shoes, and grabbed the Yankee pot roast off the table. Yum, yum. And Woody laughs. Oh, isn't that cute? And Norm says, "Oh, that dog is eating better than I do." What? Which I don't know what a Yankee pot roast is, but congrats. And Woody continues. By the way, now that you're not here to keep me in line, your mother's thinking about putting me to sleep. I certainly wouldn't blame her, and I don't want you to either after I'm gone. Sam, cover me. I gotta make a phone call. Woody runs off. Roll credits.
Dark. Yeah. Whew.
Like
That was
we know
rough.
we know Woody comes from a farm, and we know like farms can be places where animals routinely are slaughtered for food, but this seems like a revenge killing, and I'm not into it.
You do it for a purpose. Like, Mama Boyd, what are we doing here? There's no one else in Indiana who can take this dog?
I mean, I think you could just, I think in Indiana you can let a dog go and it's going to stand like a better than average chance.
I know.
As long as it doesn't end up in like Indianapolis.
Oh boy.
And really, my God, if you do need the dog dead, you can make up a story about it.
Yeah,
You're on
the
a
dog.
farm. Lots of things can happen to that dog.
Dog's on the roof.
Oh,
We can't
Woody,
get him
I'm
down.
so sorry. Yeah. Like, just announcing the execution is, oof. What are you doing? Dark.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that there's not some Pences in Woody's extended family.
Yeah. There are some weird relations there.
Hmm.
All right, let's talk about this episode. We had an A story, a B story, and a C story this week. The C story is basically just trying to keep Cliff and Norm involved. Cliff brings in a potato that he swears is the spitting image of Richard Milhouse Nixon.
I saw the resemblance.
It's there. I mean, I tip of the cap to the props crew, because as I was looking at that, I'm like, that man's not completely insane. It's right there. And yeah, he dresses the potato up. He's trying to call the news organizations. And Norm tells him, buddy, you said if you were ever going off the deep end, you wanted me to tell you you're there, and brings Cliff back to sanity. C story. The B story is, again, I think Shelley Long had some stuff going on this week. She's in the opening where it's very busy, but Sam is still fine with letting her go to prepare for a teaching assistant job. And she's in that scene. And then in one other scene with the gentleman that she is interviewing to be a teaching assistant for. He mentions that Sumner Sloan gave her very high marks. And then there's a lot of her worrying that she thinks that means that, he's talked about their relationship. And she blurts out, I am not going to sleep with you. And then there's a lot of awkward wordplay and end of that scene. And yeah, it's a little weird to watch now. So that's the B story. The A story is featuring Anthony and Annie, and they're both charming, and I understood why they wanted to build a spin-off around the Tortellis, because all the actors they got to play Tortellis really kind of killed it, and apparently just couldn't handle being the main characters week after week. But as supporting characters, I really enjoyed them, and I'm always happy when they pop up. So Sam is trying to call Carla to bring her in because the bar is so busy. Phone is busy. Can't get through, which is a certain candidate for 80s moment of the week. There's no way to get in touch with someone when a child is on the phone in their apartment. There's no texting. There's no email. You have to call them or you have to go over to their home and drag them out. Carla finally shows up, says, oh, it's my son Anthony talking to his girlfriend for all hours of the day. She asks Sam to take Anthony out on the town to show him how great single life is. He does so, and it has the opposite effect. He looks like he's just living this tawdry life. The little black book is brought out. He is calling, he's saying, look at all these honeys I can call anytime I want. And, it's getting kind of hot. I got to go. Yeah, Anthony now says, ugh, this is not the life that I want. In the next scene, Carla announces that apparently Anthony and Annie want to get married, and it's because of how shallow Sam's life looks. And she makes a bet with them. Yeah.
Gotta say, like, deeply perceptive on Anthony Tortelli's part. Like, Anthony Tortelli, while doing a very good approximation of his old man, I think we can safely say has a little bit more going on.
Mm-hmm. This episode could clearly have been called The Tragedy of Anthony Tortelli, a young man who wants better and cannot escape his fate. Mm-hmm. It is quite the hero's journey here. They want to get married. They need legal permission because it is Massachusetts and not Boston and not Tennessee. So they need legal permission to get married when you are 16. And a nice moment where he talks and she says, we just go to Jersey, get your father's permission. You only need one parent. My father's a bum. He's that's still your father. Sorry, he's a sleazy bum. So he doesn't want his father's permission, but he will go get it. She challenges them. She makes a bet. If they can wait 2 weeks and not see each other at all and still want to get married, they'll go through with it. 2 weeks go by. He is waiting eagerly at the door. He has won the bet. He never left the house, never looked at another woman. Annie comes in. They are ready to get married, ready to sign the permission slip. And then Sherilyn Fenn walks in from Twin Peaks fame. Walks in. Anthony can't stop looking at this cousin of Annie's and is immediately smitten and says, I'm going to help your cousin Park. And it's hysterical. It's very well done. They disappear. And he says, he's not coming back, is he? Nope. And they have a nice little moment between Annie and Carla. But of course, the characters are so charming that they do wind up getting married and come back in subsequent episodes.
Spoiler.
All of which are very fun. No. I do not announce spoilers for a show that aired in 1985. If you are bothering to listen to this, what are you doing if you have not seen all these episodes of Cheers? Are you shitting me? Spoiler. No spoilers. I'm talking about everything that's happened. Do we say spoiler every time we mention Kirstie Alley?
Sometimes.
She has spoiled life, but we are not talking about spoilers. All right, so that is the episode. I have some questions. One, where's Frasier? What the hell's going on? We need some Frasier in here.
Yeah, it seemed like with no Diane, they were like, no Frasier today.
Mm.
Yeah, they need to figure this out. Hey, Woody, get some sleeves.
His shirts are getting smaller every episode. Like, if it continues at this pace, by the end of the season, he'll be wearing just like a dickie.
Seriously, Sam's clothes are getting progressively baggier. And yeah, they're really making Woody out to be quite the Chippendales dancer.
like Woody, like it's like it really is kind of surprising. Like watching it now through a modern lens, I'm like, this. There's no way you wouldn't put this character on in 2020 and not have that character be gay. You know, that character, like he's so like instantly visually coded to be like, you know, to my eye, like a very like, you know, like you know, a gay character just from that look with the, you know, his the tight shirts and the clean cut look and like this, I don't know, like to me, I'm like, oh, that's why he didn't. That's why he was having trouble with his girlfriend, his longtime girlfriend, a couple of episodes ago. Like, I understand it now.
Interesting. I did not pick up on that, but I'm not saying that's not there. I've always said you are far more sensitive than I, Dave. Always.
Maybe I've just known too many friends with I'm thinking specifically of a former teacher of mine who was in incredibly good shape and like was always kind of like busting out of his polo shirts. Maybe I'm ascribing the characteristics of an entire group of people to my friend Tom, but I don't know. To me, that's just the first thing I think of when I see Woody like rippling out of those polos.
I will say, I think our LGBTQ audience is enjoying your description of Woody.
It's vivid.
Hey, I'm available if anybody wants a voice memo. I'd be happy to send that along.
All right. What'd you think of this week's episode? I had nothing against it. It really feels like some thoughts about season 4 so far that I think are represented in this episode. They're figuring out what they're doing, and I don't think they know what they're doing quite yet, which is something that's okay in a sitcom. We're like, look, we're just coming back here week after week, and these are interesting people, but the drive that was pushing the first 3 seasons along has not been there for the first couple. For the first couple of episodes, it was there. The first episode, definitely. But right now, it just kind of feels like they're going, all right, what are we doing? How big a part is Frasier going to be? What's Diane going to be? Do we want them to start thinking about getting back together? Where are we at? And it feels that way. It feels like there's a lot of funny stuff, but a lot of stuff that is not picking up momentum and driving the show forward. And it was a lot of that this week. Like the potato wasn't going to change anything. Diane wasn't getting this job. Yeah, it didn't feel like we were ever supposed to see Anthony and Annie again. It was just a lot of, all right, let's put some people in funny situations, which is what a situation comedy often is. But yeah. Yes, Tookie.
Steakless steaks is what you're saying. Steaksless. I don't know how to word that in English.
I know what you mean, like meatless steaks.
No, like as in there are no stakes in situations that.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Should
Steak,
feel like they have.
S-T-A-K-E.
Yeah.
I think I might be hungry. Yeah, no, it's a good way to put it. Yeah, the stakes aren't super high for any of the main characters in this week's episode and in the last couple of episodes. Yeah, we've gotten used to the stakes being fairly high for everybody in the bar, and right now the stakes feel kind of low. And it's not that it's not amusing, but yeah, that idea of when we had the extra time off and I was like, oh, all right, I got to watch this one again. I was like, nah, do I need to watch this one again? And I did not. I got about a quarter of the way through or a third of the way through and said, all right, I think I've brushed up enough. I'm with it again. That's enough. And a lot of the earlier episodes I would have happily watched again.
Yeah, it's like there's I think what they do seem to be aware of is that like we can't like burn the Sam Diane thing too early at this point. Like we've got to let, and I think that's a good decision at this point in the season to let that kind of sit and let those characters kind of exist, next to each other, but not like necessarily pushing each other's buttons a ton yet. Because you got 20 episodes to go, and obviously I think they have some sense of that they want to build to, that sort of classic will they won't they again, but you kind of can't. I think it's smart to kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit at this point.
Yeah, you're probably right, and it probably stuck up more because of the extended time that we had to sit with this episode. just because of our scheduling. But yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And it probably needed to be there, and it probably wouldn't have been quite so glaring at the time.
Hmm.
And it was also more what we were used to at the time. We was like, all right, they're doing 24 episodes. Not every week is going to be a Chekhov play.
And knowing that this, I know one episode this month already got preempted for the World Series. Like, this, I guess this is probably a good time, like just nationally, to not like lean too heavily into like the through line of Sam and Diane, knowing that like things might get bounced around because of other programming needs. I wonder if that was part of it.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Should we tackle some categories?
Let us
Sure.
shall.
All right. Joke of the week. My candidate for joke of the week is the outlaw of love here on the phone. Yep. She tracked me down.
Oh,
I
that
owe
was
you
great.
one, Sam. Loved that.
oh, Al Rosen. Every time the man, they are so strategic with how they deploy Al.
Yep. Yep. It's every once in a while he's a tactical comedy nuke.
Oh boy, yeah, he never
Yep.
misses.
Yep. That got me every time. I literally watched this one just to make sure I got to that joke one more time.
I owe you one, Sam.
Perfect. Tookie, your joke of the week.
Joke of the week. When Woody asks, "Who's Nick's father?"
Oh, so good.
Yeah. So, or who's Nick? Carla says Anthony's father, biological father, and Woody says, "Oh wow, a scientist." Yeah.
Pure. Dave, your joke of the week.
That was my favorite joke, but I'll go with the second Woody joke. When Carla asks Sam, "What did you tell my kid?" And Sam, because he's talking about marriage, getting married to Annie, and Sam says, "Well, basically, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?" And Woody chimes in with, "Well, I'll tell you why: companionship, warmth on a cold night, someone to share your old age with." And Norm says, "You think you should marry her?" And Woody says, "I thought we were talking about a cow."
Very good.
The writing for Woody is terrific.
Top notch. 80s moments of the week. I already mentioned a couple of. This felt very much like I do feel like season 4 is when we are deep in the 80s. The first couple of seasons. If you told me they were done in 79, I would have believed you. These feel very 80s now. Like the attire, the attitude, the references, they are very much of the 80s.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was actually my 80s moment of the week was the Jack Palance reference, because he hosted briefly a reboot of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Right.
That's why he was the one saying that. That's why, it would only have been a reference from that point, because it's not even like people remembered it. But at the time, for this brief period of time, he said it in this very unique way. Believe it or not. With this heavy breath. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yep.
Watched that show religiously. It was on, I think, Sunday evenings, like 6
Sunday
or 7
nights.
o'clock.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
and it was a little creepy, and
could not get enough.
Oh, I remember the episode about the guy who got the railroad spike through his head.
Yep.
What?
Haunted me. Woo.
What the heck were you guys watching?
It was the 80s, Tookie.
Okay.
We saw so many things we shouldn't have seen.
Apparently.
Yeah. Like I couldn't even imagine showing my son the stuff that I watched when I was his age. Like, they take him away from me.
Yeah.
We would absolutely be called into the teacher's office. As well we should.
Oh, I remember my parents renting DC Cab, and all of it. After about like 10 minutes, we all kind of had to call an audible.
Because it was like, oh, Mr. T, I want to see Mr. T, right?
Yeah, who doesn't love Mr. T? Boy, that was a side of Mr. T I was not prepared for.
Jesus.
Yeah, 80s were different. Dave, what was your 80s moment of the week?
One specific moment when the camera pans back on Mandy Ingber as Annie, and you can see the label on her jeans, and she is wearing Guess jeans.
Ooh, wow, yeah.
No more 80s jean than the Guess jean.
Mm-hmm. Tookie, your 80s moments.
Okay. The scene where Cliff is on the phone with the New York Times guy. There's a guy standing behind him laughing. His glasses are so 80s on the phone.
Oh, I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah. Then I think when Cliff says New York Times news doesn't come out of the New York Times news doesn't come out of Moscow, they're not interested.
Mm.
And then a toll call for Beth Hollister when Sam is calling through. So I don't know what a toll call is. And the whole concept of a Nixon potato, it feels like there was a chunk of time where we had a lot of Jesus toast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or like, oh, this statue was crying, the statue was bleeding, this piece of food looks like so and so, and now it sells for how much on eBay. But it gave me it was reminiscent of that chunk of time.
Got it. Tookie, do you really not know what a toll call is?
No.
Oh my God, I feel old.
I don't know.
Toll call.
I know a lot
I
of
get
things,
it,
but
I jotted down that as an 80s moment, but I didn't think it was so 80s you wouldn't know what a toll call was. So basically, when we all had landlines, you only had a certain radius that you could call that was covered by your monthly bill.
Oh,
so you could
long
call
distance.
locally. Yeah, exactly. So a toll call is long distance, but it was very it wasn't like calling California long distance. So it was different. And usually you knew it if you had to dial the area code first, because back in the day, you only had to know 7 numbers.
Right.
And in that town, in your town or usually within the city, if the city wasn't big enough, you all had the same first 3 numbers. Mm-hmm. And you just needed to know the last 4. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
like when I was a kid, when I was in high school, everyone you just knew the last 4 numbers of everybody's phone number because everyone was 336 in Seekonk.
Huh. So toll call is essentially like long distance, but
you're paying
shorter?
a toll. It's no, because I shouldn't say that. So, like, if we were calling from Seekonk, if we were calling Attleboro, you had to pay extra for that, but not as much as if you were calling internationally.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just outside of your area code, essentially.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep. Woo.
We're learning.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, Beth Hollister might have lived up in Vermont or New Hampshire or something.
Well, but that's the thing. Like back in the day, she didn't even have to live in another state. If she just lived in Fitchburg and Sam was in Boston, it's like, all right, you got to drive down Route 2, but you had to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. You had to pay for calling that far.
I hope he's not dating somebody from Fitchburg. That would kind of take away some points from Sam, as far as I'm concerned.
It would concern us all.
Tookie, how white was this week's episode?
It was a slow burn. It was a slow burn because at first I thought, this episode looks a little pale. But they really ramped it up towards the end. So the breakdown. In the opener, we had one black man who passed by the bar to get to the phones in the back. Scene 1, a black man talking to a lady at the back wall. A black man in a trench coat walks by and then joins him. And then they're at the jukebox, which makes me feel like, they must have shot this scene in multiple takes because it seemed like some characters were back and forth jumping. But there was a black man in a salmon sweater and some glasses who joins the man in the trench coat to talk to the ladies, and they're sitting by the booths by the door. And then there was a Middle Eastern man with a mustache, I must say, a great mustache, by the phones, and a black woman who walked out from the pool room. Scene 2, a black man exits the pool room and sits at the bar. A black man and woman were sitting at the back of the bar, and then a black man walked past them in gray. And scene 3, there was a black man in a white jacket who passed by the potato, but then sat by the bar afterwards. A black man in a gray suit who passed by behind everybody at the bar. A Latin woman, a Latin man in tan. He was tan and wearing a tan coat, who passed by in front of Norm in that scene. A Black woman with hair for days, really big, great hair, by the piano. A Black woman next to the man in the white jacket at the bar. A Black man at the back wall by the Square House sign. And a Black man entered and helped an old man with a cane through the door. And then we had like a bonus scene 4, which had a Black woman by the back wall and another Latina woman who exited the pool room. So in total, we had 19 people of color in this episode. It was a slow burn, but we got there.
All right. Good to know. On a side note, not really connected, but when you were talking about a Black woman with magnificent hair, there is a great interview or like a piece about Viola Davis in the New York Times today. And there is some magnificent shots of her with fabulous hair. So I would encourage everyone, and she is from Central Falls, so the town over from my birthplace, Central Falls, Rhode Island, and not necessarily represented well in the piece, but it is in there, and it's a great piece, and check that out. Okay, so just a little love to Viola Davis. And maybe I'm just procrastinating getting to the same creepy quotient because it's high this week.
Why? Just because he's talking about his life in front of a teenager?
I would rather think about Viola Davis than Sam Malone this week.
It's not a good one.
It's a tough week.
Also, hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Kelly has struggled to teach her kids about toll calls as well. So this shouldn't come as any surprise.
Yep. It's weird explaining how the phone used to work to people. I know I've referenced this before, but the video of parents challenging their kids to figure out how a rotary phone works is magnificent. It's absolutely great because it is funny, but the parents are very positive about it. And everything those kids are doing make perfect sense when you think about phones today. So it's very much not a look at these stupid kids. It's wow. Like this thing that made such perfect sense to me at the time, I now see is so counterintuitive. It's bizarre. Yeah. Like explaining how the phone used to work. Madness.
I was working with a group of high school kids last week, and they were shooting a short video, and we set them loose in like the kind of prop storage area of this high school theater, and they were going to shoot this footage with this old rotary phone they found. And one of the kids asked me in complete earnestness, "Do you have to pick it up before you dial it?" And I just lied down on the ground and died.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll miss you, Dave.
I had a perfectly fine life, and calling hours are between 6 and 9.
R.I.P.
There you go. Yeah, so much, Sam. I think it's like a 72 this week.
Yeah.
The book, the trying to talk the guy out of being in love, the why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free, the trying to get off the phone when he finds out the woman might be a little bit overweight. It's all bad. It's all bad. Yeah, like, be careful. Like warning Diane not to, the Sumner stuff was kind of weird to kind of put it on her instead of Sumner. It's a rough Sam. It's a tough SCQ week.
Even just having to be convinced by your friend to like help her out with her son.
Yeah,
like it takes it takes longer than it should for him to be like, yeah, I'll take your son to a Red Sox game.
72 is, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you let me down this week, Sam.
Yeah, whatever number he was in his final year of his Red Sox career, that's what number his creepy quotient is.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only time you use the word love is tennis, and when you've already paid for the room.
Oh, terrible!
The
writers, they are really leaning into like this, like edgier Lothario Sam, which I think like probably played a lot more sort of pleasant, or a lot more sort of like humorously in the 80s, and now it's a bad taste.
Yeah,
it's a terrible look.
Yeah. Oh, Sam. All right. Any final thoughts about the Groom or Clearasil before we put this one to bed?
They tried.
It's a solid effort.
tried.
It's a solid effort. I do applaud the, like I said, I applaud the guest stars. I like Anthony. I do kind of view this as something of a tragedy of Anthony trying to not be his dad, like, which makes the episode even a little bit sadder. I'm not going to be my
Yeah.
dad, but I'm going to be my dad. I cannot help it. What am I going to be able to do? And it does make me somewhat hopeful that he does actually marry Annie and he does come back and seemingly is a decent husband later on. So there you go.
His Nick Tortelli impression is excellent. It takes a while to kind of assert itself, but in the scene with Carla, it's subtler than I thought a Nick Tortelli impression would be, and yet it's really, really good.
It's really good. Yeah, it is that perfect balance of, oh, that's definitely his kid, but he's not just doing, Nick Tortelli.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
great
really
instinct as an actor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like I liked the scene with Diane and John Inger. Or John Ingle rather. I liked that scene a lot. I thought that was actually really fun. I thought they I liked how they played the sort of discomfort of it all, and I like that it wasn't that the homophobia, and that it was. I like that I thought they did a fairly good job for 1985 of avoiding homophobia in it, where it could have very easily been that. Like, his response to what she's saying doesn't come across as disgusted. He just wants to get out of the room because she's clearly kind of raving, and she doesn't like. I found that scene funny and less problematic than I think it probably should have been for 1985.
Yeah.
Very well done, charming actors. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe as I watched it, I'm like, poor Diane. Like, she wants this job, and she's terribly afraid that this old man is going to want to sleep with her. I feel for her, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm being maybe I'm being dramatic about it, but I couldn't get out of that when I watched that scene.
The cringe was strong with that whole sequence of events.
Yeah. But it's the 80s. You can't totally get away from the cringe.
Yeah.
You can't completely escape the cringe.
Alas.
And there you go.
Thanks, Reagan.
Alas and alack. Oh my God. If you ever heard some of the jokes that were told at Reagan gatherings. Oof.
Oh.
Really?
Okay.
Have
I mentioned the Bob Hope jokes?
No.
Oh,
should I be scared?
Terrible homophobic jokes at a thing for the reopening of the Statue of Liberty where he was making fun of Rock Hudson. It was really bad.
Oh
yeah. I don't want to say them, but you can look them up if you want to find them. Yeah.
Was this post-diagnosis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was because it was basically making jokes about Rock Hudson being gay and having AIDS.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
I know. When I go back and look at stuff from the 80s, it's very hard to know because with so much of it, it's like so much of our morals are just based on the social mores of the time. And that was around all the time. And so there's a part of me that's like, what the fuck, Bob Hope? And then part of me is like, he was like 80 at the time. And, that had been the way jokes were told for, his entire life. I don't know.
Did he get to 100? I know he was aiming for it. He got to
Burns got to 100. George
Okay.
Burns got to 100.
Okay.
I also don't remember George Burns telling homophobic jokes, but we'll see.
Boy, I know what I'm going to dig up this weekend.
He got to 100.
Yeah.
He got to
Bob Hope got to 100? Okay.
He got to 100. He died about 4 months after.
Well, dang.
Bob Hope was weird. He was one of those guys where he looked like he was 70 when he was 25. And then he seemed like he was 75 forever. And then something happened and he just kind of fell off a cliff and people kept talking about it, where it was Bob Hope was Bob Hope. And then he turned 90 and suddenly he looked like he was 106.
Huh.
It was really weird. I remember that.
So you're saying at first he had like standard Morgan Freemanitis.
Exactly. Yes.
And then something
Yep.
switched. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he was cut from that Carol O'Connor, Wilford Brimley mold. It was like, all right, you're immediately an old man, but you're going to stay exactly the same for a long, long time. There you go.
We met, not met, I shouldn't say met, but we bumped into Bob Hope at one of the Disney World resorts in the 80s at some point. Like he was there, I think, because I think there was a golf tournament that was in his name that was being played. And I remember like we all kind of recognized him because like, I mean, I knew Bob Hope from, they showed every USO special on TV. And I remember my folks were like, you can ask him for an autograph. And he was very obliging and pleasant to like sign Disney hats for these three kids that had very little idea of who he actually was.
Well, I'm glad he was pleasant.
He was. I can't say. I shouldn't say pleasant. I remember patient is maybe a better word.
You know what? Patience is a reasonable stand-in for pleasant. Patience is like, I will accept patience in lieu of pleasant if you can't quite muster up pleasant. And I don't know what's going on with your day, so I'm not going to demand pleasant. Patient is good.
Patient was fine for three kids bugging you at Epcot Center when you're in your 80s.
And you were already probably in a bad mood because you were at Epcot Center.
Oh, but the dragon.
Love Epcot. I'm an Epcot stan for life.
Okay.
The little dragon. What's that guy?
Figment.
Figment.
Oof. I haven't been to Epcot in a while. If you say so. I thought we were talking about Mushu.
No. Although I'm just going to take the moment since it came up to say all disrespect to the voice actor who played Mushu in Mulan 2, the straight-to-video sequel. Because as we all know, Mushu was originally voiced by Eddie Murphy. They used a sound alike for the sequel, and he was white.
Not good.
Not good. All disrespect.
There's a lot of weirdness there. It was a little weird that Eddie Murphy was playing a Chinese dragon.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, let's not pretend that it didn't start weird.
Yeah, no. I mean, this whole premise is built on a shaky foundation.
I've spent a lot of time with Eddie over the last 2 weeks, just kind of by accident.
Oh, yeah?
48 Hours is on, and I rewatched that again in all its troublesome glory. And Beverly Hills Cop has been making the rounds.
Ooh, I need to watch that.
Man, Beverly Hills Cop. Like, we all sort of know the parts of 48 Hours that have aged badly and the parts that have aged magnificently. Like, Eddie Murphy is amazing in that movie. I mean, just like on fire, that whole movie. He's incredible. Beverly Hills Cop, he is also incredible. Beverly Hills Cop is so 80s, it's amazing. And mostly in the attitude of the police, which is when the police are polite and respectful and following the law, they are huge losers. Look at these geeks following the law. And Eddie's got to teach them to, like, hey, you got to break the law sometimes to bring about justice. You got to, come on, there's ways around the rules. There's ways around a search warrant. What are you doing, guys? And like the happy ending is when the lieutenant who had followed the rules strictly makes up a complete lie to justify the shootout that everyone was just involved in. I'm telling you, it's weirder than you remember. It's very easy to just watch it and see how fabulous Eddie Murphy is and how funny and charming he is. But man, when you actually look at that and you realize how much of the messaging we got for a long time was the cops know what they need to do and stop getting in the way, nerd. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Nick Nolte. Yeah. And it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely, Kelly. And it's really shocking how many racist lines Nick Nolte's character had And then they have that weird moment where suddenly he apologizes to Eddie Murphy and then he defends him to the black police chief who uses the N-word on Eddie
Oh,
Murphy.
cool.
There's so much going on in 48 hours, I can't even tell you. There's so much going on in 48 hours.
Not for free on YouTube, as far as I can tell, though 1,000 words is, and I feel like that's for a reason.
What is that? You broke up a little bit.
1,000, and also an Eddie
Yes,
Murphy
1,000
movie.
words.
Yeah. Available for free, which I feel like maybe that's for a reason.
Yeah, I remember that not doing particularly well.
Okay.
Yeah. Eddie
So-
had a real cold stretch. Woo, Eddie had a cold stretch.
It sounds like if we have the choice, like if there can be like a national czar of policing, if we can actually get Judge Reinhold into that position, we might stand a better chance as a society.
Mm.
Nah, he was very different in Beverly Hills Cop 2.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Is that
Tony
canon?
Scott directed. It is canon, sir.
Okay.
It's really funny if you watch those two movies back to back. Like the characters are the same, but it's shot so differently. Like everything in Beverly Hills Cop 2 is that Tony Scott style of like, well, a lot of shadows here and like lights pouring in from the window, and yeah, Beverly Hills Cop is very straightforward. Like the visual style of Beverly Hills Cop 2 is wildly different. And Beverly Hills Cop 3 never happened.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can all agree on that.
Does the Axel Foley leitmotif at least make an appearance in the sequel? The do 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 do.
Oh yeah, Axel F,
Okay.
definitely. Herbie
Okay.
Hancock.
Okay.
Yep.
Just
The Rewatchables did a really fascinating episode about Beverly Hills Cop where they wondered if Axel Foley was gay.
huh.
In a very like not insulting way, but made a strong case for, hey, are we sure Axel Foley was not gay? Like just how much he like this is all about him avenging his friend who he loves, and like that seems to be the closest relationship, and like doesn't ever actually try to hook up with another woman. Like Jenny Summers is lying on his bed in the hotel room, nothing happens. Like he's never actually involved with a woman at any point. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird for especially a movie out of the 80s for there not to be a romantic. Although I guess there were also.
I believe it was Wesley Morris though, who I think made the very good point of saying you have to understand though, it was 1984 and they were not going to let even the most popular black actor hook up with a white woman. It was not going to happen in an action cop comedy.
Yeah, I was
not going to happen, and they didn't want to bring in a black actress to just sort of be there, and so Axel Foley was not allowed to do that. Yeah. Yep. But I also kind of like the idea of no, Axel Foley was a gay man, and he really loved that man who got killed, and it was a bit of a love story. I think that's a fascinating take on Beverly Hills Cop.
I'm not convinced.
I don't think that's what it was, but
I'm not 100% convinced that Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines weren't a couple in Running Scared.
I love Running Scared.
Those two men love each other in a way that I've never seen, outside of like close families.
No, it's a deep, deep love. You see their bathing suits.
Oh.
Have you not seen Running Scared?
No.
Oh, Tookie. If you want the 80s vibe in its all together glory, you must watch Running Scared.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines, tough Chicago cops. And you can find it on YouTube, the Running Scared Key West sequence, where there's a montage.
Scored by Michael McDonald.
Could have only been made in the 80s. Dave, if you could please share that to the page. Everyone needs to see this.
I will absolutely share that to the page. That song came on the radio when I was driving my daughter today, and I tried to explain to her who Michael McDonald was, and then I abandoned that to just sing the song at her.
Yes. Oh, sweet freedom. Shine the light on me.
It's
What
right
is
where I want to
happening?
be. Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
so good, Tookie.
It's magnificent.
I'm concerned.
Did we steer you wrong on Columbo, Tookie?
No.
Did we steer you wrong on Midnight Run?
No.
When will you trust us?
I
Thank you.
okay. All right.
Thank you. Jimmy Smits,
Oh yeah.
big role. Yep. Unfortunately, playing the Latino drug dealer, but still, Jimmy Smits, major
yeah.
role.
Yeah.
It was
Joey
a different
Pants?
time.
What is
What's up?
Joey
Oh.
Pants makes an appearance.
Yeah, Joe Pantoliano.
Joe.
Yeah,
There's a lot of Joes.
there are.
Okay.
There are. But this is the Joe. Yeah, watch this. Okay. All right. And everyone at home, you watch Running Scared as well to prepare you for next week, when we will be back with season 4, episode 5. We will not be gone this long again. We have missed you all. We hope you are all well. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye, everybody.
Nothing to plug?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, I'm actually, if I'm well enough, I'm at the Comedy Studio on Thursday and Friday.
Woo.
So there you go. Yeah, 3 shows. There you go. Sorry, Tookie, anything to plug?
I'm seeing an endocrinologist.
Nice.
Romantically.
Where can we buy tickets?
Cambridge Health Alliance.
Perfect. Perfect. Dave, are you seeing a phlebotomist at any point?
I'm gonna check out a podiatrist. I think in the next couple of weeks. I'm playing some music in Harvard, Massachusetts, but it's sold out. So you'll just have to. I'll tell you how it went. I guess next week.
Sucks to be you, audience. There
Standing
you go.
room only.
All right, we got a lot going on this week. Lots going on this week. All right, and now we say goodbye. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and we'll post that video and watch Running Scared. Bye.